another Chinese national's identity to register and cast an illegal ballot. How does somebody slip through the cracks like this, and what does it say about the determination of people to meddle and really vote in our elections illegally?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly shows a looseness. I mean, good, he got caught. This is kind of a really strange case, though, Steve. I mean, and I hate to kind of lump it into kind of election integrity cases. I have no doubt about the CCP's potential behavior when it comes to U.S. elections. You and I have talked about the whole birthright tourism industry. There's a lot of holes in our game that need to be plugged. But this case is a real strange one. The defendant in this case, impersonated a Chinese lawful permanent resident and voted as him, and then reported it to ICE and DHS, saying somebody was voting illegally as a Chinese LPR, lawful permanent resident. When they, during that whole process of trying to figure out what in the world's going on, he also went online with ICE to renounce his lawful permanent residence status for the guy and his wife, the victim and his wife. So this case is a lot more of kind of a domestic stalking, kind of a really strange scenario, because the illegal voter called attention to it and was obviously trying to get some other people in trouble. It sounds like all of them are probably facing removal, which is a good thing, but it's not a very good barometer for how well we're doing at sniffing out fraud yet. It's just kind of a bizarre domestic impersonation story.
Certainly odd, but the fact, Jim, that they were able to register and go through the process online, does that maybe speak to the fact that it's weak, this type of infrastructure, and is it likely this kind of fraud could be more common than we realize?
Oh, absolutely, and maybe not with the same kind of domestic flavor or stalking flavor that this one has. I mean, look, if we've made it, that's really been kind of the game in the last 10 or 20 years, is making voting so easy that it's also probably very easy to defraud the government. So when you create online portals, you're inviting mischief, because you're not sitting there having somebody in an office that's presenting an identification and being kind of given the once over by somebody who's keen to fraud. So yeah, we've made it way too easy for people to register, way too easy for them to vote without being in person. And I still think that we're probably looking at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to law enforcement efforts. We're just starting to really focus on this. I think DOJ's been asleep at the wheel for a long time about voter fraud, but the real villains might be the state governments that turn the other way, that don't care because they like the way the politics play out. So there's a lot of room for blame here, but I think it's too early to know whether we're really being effective at sniffing out fraud.
Shifting gears here a bit, Jim, former aide to Dr. Fauci recently pled guilty to conspiring to destroy public records, including obstructing FOIA requests. Does this point to broader wrongdoing, and could it affect investigations at the state level?
Yeah, I don't know about the state side, but this was a case brought in good old Greenbelt with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland, where I used to work years ago. One broad point to make: this is the same office that got a guilty plea out of John Bolton. So for all the people that are out there, gnashing their teeth and saying DOJ's become politicized and weaponized, you look to my old neighborhood of Maryland, and they're bringing some pretty righteous cases. This guy pled guilty just like Bolton did. I think the interesting part is what's next. Maryland does a nice job, both electronically and in court, of masking whether or not the person is cooperating. That's the huge question here. He had an 8-page, single-space statement of facts. That's a lot of information to support his guilty plea, to show exactly what he did when it comes to FOIA and misleading the public and coordinating with what they call co-conspirators 1 and 2 in this indictment. So the issue of whether he's cooperating is huge, because generally speaking, yeah, you look at emails and texts and you look at public statements, but when you have somebody from the inside, your case can get a lot better against someone like Fauci. So we'll see. He's got a sentencing set for November. If that sticks, that may well mean he's not cooperating. But if that moves, that could be that it's accommodating ongoing investigation against people like Fauci.
Jim, one last topic before we let you go. Recent Fox report found that in 4 of 8 2026 murder investigations in Fairfax County, Virginia, not too far from where we are here in DC, the suspects were in the country illegally. Jim, if one of these suspects had over 30 prior arrests, including for rape and drug possession, with prosecutors dropping charges in some earlier cases, are authorities in Virginia going out of their way not to enforce federal immigration law?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, and there's been a bit of a paper trail. I think we've seen information from Commonwealth's attorneys that they'd have on their website originally, we're not going to go after illegal aliens to the same level because of the collateral consequences. They quickly scrub that when they run for office. They've elected people that George Soros has funded, so that's always a very left-wing kind of anti-U.S. perspective. And this is just very simple. I mean, the governor of Virginia came into office on the first day, signed an executive order saying we will not cooperate with ICE. And so you've created a magnet, you've created a culture, you've created expectations that illegal aliens will be perfectly fine coming to a place like Fairfax, whether they're gang members, whether they're have criminal histories or not. They know this is one of the places where they should feel fairly safe and that they can enjoy government benefits. And so it really is a tragedy of the highest order. You think about these victims' families that know that this all could have been avoided by just having traditional law enforcement interests, by just having public officials that make the first part of their priorities protecting their community. And Spanberger and others in Virginia, and Northern Virginia in particular, have abandoned that. They've just basically decided they're going to show that they're enlightened, that they're smart, that they're against ICE. And what they're really doing is causing harm to their own constituents.
Jim Trusty, as always, appreciate having you on. Thank you. And from Asia's richest man